for next loop is a specialized form of while-do loop. The conditional check is performed before the code inside the loop is ever executed. You should be asking yourself, therefore, if the for next loop is the same as a while-do loop, why do we need it? Well, I mentioned earlier in the session about the possibility of writing code that contains infinite loops and the problems that this causes. For next loops allow us to write counting loops in such a way as they are easy to understand and less likely to be a potential infinite loop. The problem with a while-do loop is that the controlling statements are spread over several lines of code. There might be a pre-loop initialization step, then there is the beginning of the loop itself where the while condition is set and tested, and there will also be the end of the loop where the jump back to the condition is triggered, the wend in JustBasic. A vital piece of code which is easily missed and often overlooked is a statement that actually increments a counter or a value in such a way so at some point it causes the loop to terminate. If this line of code is missing, then the loop will never end. This little bit of code will output a times table. So the variable time table is the times table to calculate, in this case 5s. The endpoint is how we need to count up to, so we'll do up to 12 times 5. And we'll have a counting variable which counts from 1 through to 12 and is the value that is multiplied by the times table to give us an answer. So we can set up the loop while count is less than or equal to endpoint, so count will go from 1 to 12. We can then print whatever's in count, which will start at 1 and it'll end at 12, multiplied by timetable, which is 5, equals, and then a simple multiplication statement, so 1 times 5, 2 times 5, 3 times 5 as the loop progresses. We then need to remember to put this line in, count equals count plus 1. That increments count, so that when the while loop ends, it comes back round, re-evaluates whether or not count is less than or equal to endpoint, and providing that it is, it will continue through the loop, and when count becomes not less than or equal to, so greater than 12, the loop will stop. So if we run that, we can see that it produces nice, clean output for a times table. If we make a simple mistake in here and maybe increment the wrong variable by accident, then we're going to get an endless loop because the condition of count never changes, it's always 1. Endpoint, in this case, will keep on going up, so this loop will never stop. So if we run the program now, we get an infinite loop. The other situation we might get is that we forget to put that line in at all, so this will create a similar situation. Rather than endpoint incrementing out of the reach of count itself never actually goes beyond 1, so it never gets anywhere near endpoint. Either way, it will produce an infinite loop. So just so you can see what the effect of an infinite loop is, I'm going to run one and show you how difficult it is to stop it. So if I press play, I can see that my program's now in an infinite loop. It's just going around 1 times 5. I instantly know what's wrong. My count value is not changing. So can I stop it? Well, I could try Control-C on the keyboard. That doesn't work. If I go to File and Exit, that doesn't seem to work. Can I close the program? Doesn't seem to be working. Can I kill it? That doesn't seem to be working. I can try and right click and kill it. That doesn't work. Can I stop JustBasic itself? That doesn't seem to be working. So what I've got to do in this case is I have got to insert a Control, Alt and Delete to bring up the task manager of the Windows operating system to allow me to stop this program from the operating system point of view rather than itself. Now, because that program's in an endless loop, it's taking quite a lot of processor time, so it's taken a while for that task manager to actually come up. I've then got to find the program that is running, so it'll be something to do with JustBasic, and end it, and that has allowed me to stop that program. However, I've now lost my code. If I open up JustBasic again, you can see that I've lost my code. I didn't save it, and I'm going to have to start writing my program again. Okay, so if you are making changes to programs, make sure that you do save your programs on a regular basis, because if you get the situation as we've just had with an endless loop, an infinite loop, it may be that you've got to crash the program to actually exit, and this might result in you losing quite a bit of code. As it happens, I'd managed to cut and paste mine before I went in there, and I've retrieved it, but that does illustrate a point.